Howdy, and welcome to this week's episode of Let's Make an RPG Game. So, last week we built the town, added a little bit of a smokestack event. So this week, I actually got a list of what I want to do, so I'm looking at it right now. We're going to add events and people in the town, and then we're going to bring in the first plugin, we're going to create shops, and then we're going to set up the opening cutscene. So, starting with that, let's put in our first plugin. So first off, we're going to show you how to put in a plugin for those of you who don't know how to put in a plugin in RPG Maker MZ. So you're going to go over to this little button here, so this little button here. It's going to puzzle piece button, it's a plugin manager. See, there you go. Open that up, and you get this screen here. So I'm going to cancel it, because first, what you really need to do is you need to find the plugin you want, download it. There's a lot of free ones, just have to know where to look. And then there's a lot of not so free ones. You're not seeing what I'm doing here, but what I'm actually doing is organizing things and finding the right plugins. You gotta go into your file manager, find the plugins you want. Either they're downloaded, or sometimes people put them in demo projects. The one we're going to use is in demo project for right now. Actually, the ones we're going to use, I'm just going to take a whole bunch of these and copy them here. You can't see what I'm doing right now, because I don't have it queued up to show this. Which is a good thing, you don't get to see my messy file structure system. Now that they're in, what you're going to do is you're going to go over to here. Once you've got them all inputted in, I mean, you can look up online on exactly how to input plugins, get them into your game. So you're going to go into your plugin manager and you're going to click on them here. Now, then this is all the plugins you can put in. Now, if you notice, the ones here are numbered 0 through 01. So there's plugins 0, and then there's tier 1s, and they go down. We don't have the rest of the tiers. We don't really need that. So we're going to drop in the core engine, and we'll click OK. And then for the purpose of this video, we're going to go down to where it says item and equipment core, and we're going to drop that in. We're going to set something up here because some of these have different features that sometimes will mess things up. Go over to where it says quality of life settings, and click here. And I'm going to go to open console on boot, because it'll crash it instantly, and turn it off, and voila. So our first two plugins are put in. We're going to click apply. So the next step is we're going to inhabit this town. But first off, I want to create a shop. Now, my list I have written down, but I'm not doing it in exact order, but my list is for me to know exactly what I intend to demonstrate in this vlog. So we're going to go to the shop. So we're going to go here. And we're just going to create the shop. I was going to cheat it, but no, we're not going to create it. So we're going to go to new. And we're going to go over to here. We're going to go to inside. I'm going to keep the dimensions the same, and we're going to name this item shop. Actually, we're going to call it outfitters. Keep everything the same, and let's build the shop. Zoom in here. We don't need to make the shop really big. Sorry for the audio. My mic isn't working, so I'm using the built-in mic on my laptop. So let's go here. We're going to drop it on the floor. There we go. Now, depending on how you build the walls of the shop, depends on the style you want to build it in. Some people will do this to create the walls of the shop, or sometimes I'll do this to create the walls of the shop, like this. Then all you really have to do, but for the purpose of this video, we're going to make this simple. So we're just going to drop in that, drop in like that, and there we go, we have a shop. Next up, we need to put in some windows. So we're going to go here, and we're going to go this here, put in a couple windows. Decorate the shop a little bit, put in little shelving units, bookshelves. So put in a front counter. We'll go over here, counter, create our shopkeep. So I'm just going to pull from the list of generic looking people that the engine comes with. And there we go, there's a shopkeep. Now this is where we're going to use the plugin. So we're going to go here, we're going to go over to content, so I'm going to go here. Now I could easily just go here, go to shop processing, and do this, but this takes a while. This is why the plugin comes in handy. So we're going to go into plugin command. And we're going to go down to plugin name. We're going to find item and equipment core. And then there's get a list of commands you can use. You can do all these, but what we're going to do is we're going to go to shop advanced. Now, if you see here, you've got a whole bunch of stuff you can work with. We can make this an item shop, a weapon shop, an armor shop. We can make it so you can buy and sell stuff at the shop, or you can make it so you can only purchase stuff at the shop. And you can blacklist and whitelist items. What we're going to be worried about is we're going to make this an item shop. So what we first got to do is we're going to go and we're going to just set these other two things to none, like that. Now what we're going to do now is the item shop. So we're going to go to range start, and we're going to pick where we want to start. So we're going to say potion at range N, which is going to be here. There's a simple little item shop right there. I mean, we could add more if we wanted to. Hell, you could create items and create a specialized list for a specialized shop if you want, and using this. Then we're going to go down to the last part with this part here, step 4, and we're going to make it, yes, a purchase only shop. And voila, it is set up. So what we're going to do is we're going to then go new, and we're going to have our shopkeeper dialogue. Welcome to my shop. What can I get for you? In a minute. So then it'll read this, and then it'll go straight to plugin and right into the opening of the shop. So we got that set up. So let's set up as exit. So we're going to go here, go to transfer, the world map, and let's see, an item shop right here. Go back to the map here, and we're going to create a door. You don't have to create a door, but I'm going to create a door, and then we're going to go here, and then we're going to go to outfitters. And you're going to pick exactly the spot you want the player to appear when they walk into the door, and voila, there you go. Our first shop is set up. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to set up, first, we're going to inhabit the town with events, just simple little events. So we're going to go and I'm going to just plop a human here. So I'm just going to use the generic things with this little pink haired kid here. And these, so what I'm going to do now is we're going to set this one up. So we could have him either fixed, I'm going to have him wander around randomly like a chicken with his head cut off. Everything else is set. We're going to put stepping so it looks like he's walking, though otherwise it looks like he's floating. And we're going to over contest. I'm just going to have him do this. So we're going to here, there's his face. We're going to have him say like that. And click apply. And then we have our first town inhabitant. Alright. I'm going to put the in, and all I'm going to do is instead of making the in I'm going to do the easy method. We're just going to go in, leave it like that. Cool. So that way you didn't have to even go in the building. The innkeeper's right there. That one does look kind of bare. Just get a main building, a couple shops, and an inn. So let's zoom out a bit. Let's throw in some of those random decorated houses, I like to call them. I call them decorated houses because they're just decorative. They're not functional housing. They're just there to make the town feel like a town. So they don't really have to have any form or function. They could be small houses like that or big houses, whatever. Your player's not really going to enter them. We could, but for the purpose of this game, I'm not going to do that. There. And assuming we didn't put in an exit to the town, so we're going to do that real quick. There we go. There, our town is now finished. In my mind, we got to put in our weapon shop, figure out what we're going to do with this. But let's look at my notes. So we checked off adding events and people into the town. When we're done, we're going to finish that up real quick. Add a few. We inserted the first plugin and set it up. The first 2 plugins. We created a shop, so we still got to set up the opening cutscene and playtest it. So for this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the town map and I'm going to go and I'm going to hit over here and going to hit copy. Go back up to here and paste it. Because what we're going to do is we're going to set up the opening scene. So we'll delete him and we're going to create our secondary character. Now, if you're asking what I'm actually going to base this off of, I'm just started participating in a writer's circle group. And part of the group is we had to write a story and we're going to submit the story to other people in the group and they critique it. And I'm a science fiction fantasy type writer. So I wrote a kind of science fiction fantasy story that we're going to use for the basis of the backstory of this thing. So first things first, for this, we're going to create, go new, we're going to create the inside of the main character's house real quick. Small little house. This. You don't have to fill the whole thing up. Or not. In fact, we might change this out for the shop to shrink it. We're going to go this way. And to make this kind of neat, what we're going to do is then we're going to go here. Step to like an upstairs bedroom. Make this look like a house. Drop in a fireplace right about there. Let's go here. Get some food. Drop in our player. Come here eating. So this is going to be the opening thing. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go here. And we're just going to go somewhere in this general area. We're just going to drop and we'll put it here. And we're going to go here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go and hit do event page. And right away I'm going to label this South Switch A. Then we're going to go down here quickly. We're going to make this an auto run event. So that's all we're going to do in this area. Apply because what I'm about to do sometimes crashes the entire engine. Don't ask me why, but I'm going to save real quick. And what we're going to do is we're going to go to the second page and we're going to go sound effect. And I'm going to go down and find something that says the crash. and like that. Then we'll just go back here. We're still on the same page. We're going to go to show balloon like that. And we're going to click apply. And what I'm going to do is then we're going to go back to here. And I'm going to zoom out. I'm going to go right about here. We're going to set up something. I'm going to put a red. We're going to create a secondary character. We're going to go back here. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to randomize it real quick. Pick a randomized one and then we're going to alter it. I like that one. So I don't like the ears. So I'm going to take ears. We're going to make it a little bit more human ears. So you know what? No, leave it as is. We're going to go over to face image and I'm going to export it as Drake. Then we're going to go over to walking character and we're going to do the exact same thing. Drake. And I'm going to go for the battler character in case I want to put some actual battles in this game, which we might later on in another episode, another video. So now we created our secondary character. So then we're going to go into the database, keep it actors. We already created Valen. So we're going to take this, we're just going to go and we're going to replace it. So change his name to Drake. And his class is going to be, we'll say, a sorcerer for the purpose of this. Give him a weapon, give him a dragon staff, and an elemental cloak. Now that we have him, what we're going to do is we're going to do the same thing here. What are we going to do here? So we're going to go back to here. We're going to put Drake standing here. Just Drake facing forward, face that way. We're going to go here. We're going to name him Drake, and I'll show you why in a sec. Up with the name, we're going to click apply. I'm going to have him here. Go back to here. We're going to finish it up. So we have the crash sound effect. That, I wonder what that is. Next, I will probably say something of C. Now I could figure out the correct steps and have a movement route. I could have the player take control for a quick bit and have the scene play out, the rest of the open sequence play out one step. But here's what I'm going to do. We're going to go here, we're going to go over to fade out. And then we're going to go and transfer the player to here and to here. And I'm going to go over to set movement route, make sure it says player, and we're going to have him turn left, like this. So no, turn right. We'll have him show some text. We'll go, actually I'm going to change that. Back to here. Who are you and what are you doing here? A little bit of things if you have dialogue, depending if you have a face here or not. This line dictates the cutoff. Anything past this line will not even be shown. That, and we'll go here. I will have Drake say, I have a bit of dialogue going on here. So, now, we're going to do this. So we're going to have the ship show, so we're going to go back to here. I'm going to go right about here, and put it out right about maybe there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do something a little bit odd. We're going to go all the way down to where it says vehicle. And I'm going to put that right there. We're going to make it a switch. And I'm going to label this switch Zephy. In the original story, the ship's labeled as Protector. We're going to call it the Zephy for the purpose of this video. Alright. What that does, for those of you who don't know, the switch will not appear unless I have the activate switch. We're going to put that there. So, we're going to go back to here. I'm going to go over to here. We're going to go to control switch. And we're going to have the Zephy on. So it's going to magically appear. Go back to here. Show one of the blue panels, the player getting exclamation point. Then that's it. Now I'm going to actually do something a little bit different between these two spots. And go here, we're going to put new. What I'm going to do is we're going to flash the screen so it makes it look like some. Alright, there's our opening sequence between this and this. Alright, now, if I were to now hit run, this entire sequence would just go over and over and over and over. All this would just go over and over and over and over. It would not stop. It would just repeat itself constantly because we have an auto run. We need to get stopped. That's where this comes in. So at the end of all this, we're going to go here and we're going to go down to control switch, self switch, and we're going to say A is on. So at the end of all this is going to start with the crash sound play. All this is going to get to here. At which point then it's going to switch over to page 2, which is self switch A, and stop. And that's why when you do this type of event, you want to put it outside where you want to put it in a spot the player cannot get to. Be it high up on a wall, somewhere in the map that we don't have anything the player can get to, that sort of thing. And of course this now considers our note. I'm going to add a few more details, so let's just make it kind of neat. We're going to quickly go down here to flame, pick a small little flame like that, make it look like it's kind of flickering. We're going to put stepping things, so there's another added decoration there. We really don't need to set anything up here because once this sets up, then the player will take control. Alright, you ready to play test this? I'm going to turn the volume down a bit here. Alright, so let's get things set up to play test real quick. Sometime with the Mac copy of M, there are a few hiccups. So I have to deal with that. And some of the hiccups is it takes long for the playtest to build up. Alright, there we are. I'll do this real quick. There's our crashing sound. Oh, we made a mess. We gotta hit a bug. I forgot to do something. So we're gonna close real quick. And I'm going to send us back to the editor page. Because we forgot to do something. If you can guess what I forgot to do, put it in the comments below. Otherwise, I'm going to show you what I forgot. So yes, he says all the dialogue and then he fades out. We forgot to do one quick thing. Between here and here, we have to do a fade in. Click apply, click save, click playtest. Start over, shall we? So this is taking forever, but this is longer than normal. Alright, let's play test. There we go. There's the ship. And there's our opening sequence. So, there it is. But we're going to do something quick here. Let's finish this video off. So we're going to close out of here. Our properties. I'm just going to switch back to... There's one thing I forgot to do. So, I mean, this is kind of a solo adventure where you meet people along the way. Is it going to be like, or is it going to be between the two of you and the secondary character? We're going to go over to the database, and what we're going to do is we're going to go over to System 1. And I'm just going to delete all three of these and click apply. And voila. There we have. We've inhabited the town with one character, one little minor NPC real quick. We created our first shop. We inputted in. Let's check off our list. So you can't see my list, but here it is. So we added an event and people in the town. But we added it. We added and set up our first plugin. We created a shop and we set up the opening cutscene and play tested it. So again, thank you for watching this episode of Let's Make an RPG Game. That is what we're going to be. So we've did all that. Hope you enjoyed it. Remember, road to where the stories are. Do good in the world. Peace out, stay frosty, and I'll see ya next week.